Right, so today we're taking a deep dive into Great Expectations. Now, we all know this is Dickens.
Yeah.
So we're not talking like, a light beach read here.
Right.
But is it worth the commitment? That's what we want to figure out. We've got a ton of different perspectives to dig into.
Yeah.
We've got reviews from everyday readers, insights from Dickens experts, even some comparisons to his other works.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see what patterns emerge.
I'll tell you straight up.
Okay.
The overall consensus is yes.
Okay.
Great Expectations is definitely worth your time.
Okay.
It's a little more complicated than just a simple thumbs up.
Right.
It's a book that demands something from the reader.
Okay. I think a lot of us have that, required reading trauma from high school.
Oh, yeah.
I had to read this, and I hated it. So what makes it worth revisiting as adults?
Whoa.
Is it just, appreciating Dickens more now?
It's part of it, I think. Dickens has this incredible ability to transport you to another time and place. He paints these really vivid pictures with his words.
Okay.
You really feel like you're right there in the scene with Pip.
Yeah.
For example, the opening with young Pip alone in that foggy graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
Encountering the escaped convict.
Yeah.
It's pure atmosphere.
Yeah.
And suspense.
Okay.
And he can be surprisingly funny, too, even when he's dealing with these dark themes.
Oh, so it's not just like doom and gloom.
Yeah, no.
There's actual humor in there.
Absolutely. Dickens had a sharp wit.
Okay.
He uses humor to highlight social absurdities.
Okay.
Poke fun at his character's flaws. And sometimes just to offer a moment of relief.
Right.
In the midst of all the drama.
Okay.
But yeah, he doesn't shy away from those difficult emotions.
Okay.
He really gets you invested in these characters, even when they're making questionable choices.
Speaking of characters.
Yeah.
We have to talk about Miss Havisham. I feel like she's become this larger-than-life figure.
Yeah.
Even for people who haven't read the book.
Definitely.
What is it about her that's so captivating?
She's like the ultimate cautionary tale.
Okay.
Frozen in time.
Right.
Clinging to the past.
Yeah.
Trapped in her own bitterness. And what's fascinating is Dickens actually based her on a real person.
Oh, wow.
But, beyond that historical inspiration, she represents something universal.
Okay.
Like the danger of letting heartbreak and resentment define you.
Right.
It's a theme that resonates even today, don't you think?
Totally. I mean, who hasn't been tempted to wallow in their own misery?
Yeah.
Sometimes. But okay, we've got great writing,
Yeah.
memorable characters, but what about the story itself?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing reviews that mention multiple plots and tons of characters. Can you break down, what this book is really about at its core?
At its heart, Great Expectations is about Pip's journey from a humble orphan to a gentleman. And the moral lessons he learns along the way.
Okay.
It's a coming-of-age story, but it's also like a sharp social commentary.
Right.
Dickens explores, the complexities of class,
Okay.
the allure and the dangers of ambition, and what truly defines a good person.
Okay, so it's not just a simple adventure story.
Yeah.
There's some real depth to it.
Right.
But one thing that keeps popping up in these reviews is that Pip can be kind of unlikable. Some people even call him a brat.
Yeah.
Does that ruin the reading experience?
Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, Pip's flaws are crucial to the story's impact.
Okay.
Dickens doesn't give us a perfect hero.
Right.
He shows us a young man who makes mistakes, who gets blinded by his desires,
Okay.
who hurts people that he cares about.
Right.
And that's what makes his eventual growth and transformation so satisfying.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're all capable of change,
Yeah.
of becoming better versions of ourselves.
So Dickens is making us confront some uncomfortable truths about human nature, both in Pip and in ourselves.
Exactly.
He's really asking us to think about what it means to be good, not just a gentleman.
Right. And that's where the social commentary comes in.
Yeah.
He challenges us to look beyond appearances, beyond wealth and status, and consider the true meaning of generosity, kindness, and compassion.
Right.
And he does it through these richly drawn characters, these intricate relationships, and these situations that feel so real, even though it's a 19th century setting.
That's fascinating. So we've got this compelling blend of character development and social critique.
Yeah.
But I know some people are intimidated by the length
Yeah.
and the pacing.
Right.
What would you say to those who find classic lit a bit daunting?
Well, it's true that Great Expectations isn't a quick read.
Okay.
It's a book that unfolds gradually, like a tapestry revealing its complexities layer by layer.
Yeah.
And yes, the pacing can feel different from what we're used to in modern novels,
I
but
know.
that's partly because it was originally published in serialized form.
Oh, wow.
So Dickens had to keep readers engaged week after week.
I see.
You know?
Yeah. So it's more about like savoring the journey
Yeah,
than racing to the finish line.
exactly.
Okay. But for those who are still hesitant
Sure.
about diving into this massive Victorian novel,
Yeah,
are there any tips or tricks you'd recommend?
absolutely.
Like maybe listening to the audiobook instead.
Yeah,
I've heard that can help with the flow.
for sure. A good audiobook narrator can really bring Dickens' language to life,
Okay.
especially his dialogue. You'll hear the humor, the pathos,
Yeah.
the distinct voices of each character.
Right.
It can make the experience so much more immersive
Okay.
and, yeah, even help with that pacing.
Okay.
But even if you choose to read it the traditional way,
Yeah.
just remember to be patient with the story.
Okay.
Let yourself get swept up in Dickens' world,
Okay.
his descriptions, his characters.
Mhm.
It's a rich and rewarding experience.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned patience.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that struck me about the reviews
Mhm.
is how many people said that Great Expectations is a book that gets better with age.
Oh, yeah.
Like it has something new to say to you
Right.
at every stage of life.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I think it's because the themes that Dickens explores,
Okay.
ambition, disappointment, love, loss, the search for identity,
Mm-hmm.
these are all universal and timeless.
Right?
We grapple with these things throughout our lives. And
Right.
as we gain more experience, more perspective,
Yeah.
we bring a deeper understanding to the story.
Okay.
We see ourselves reflected in Pip's struggles, his mistakes, his triumphs.
So it's almost like revisiting this book
Yeah.
at different points in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having a conversation with a wise old friend.
Exactly.
You pick up on new nuances,
Right.
new layers of meaning
Yeah.
that you maybe didn't appreciate before.
You got it. And Dickens himself went through so much in his own life.
Oh, yeah.
Poverty, heartbreak, professional success scandal.
Wow.
That depth of experience
Yeah.
really informs his writing.
Mhm.
It gives it this richness and complexity that resonates on multiple levels.
That makes me think about how we were talking earlier
Yeah.
about the social commentary in Great Expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned how Dickens challenges us to look beyond appearances
Right.
and wealth
Mm-hmm.
to find the true meaning of goodness.
Yeah,
Do you think that message is even more relevant today
I do.
in a world that often feels obsessed with status
Yeah,
and material possessions?
absolutely. I think it's more relevant than ever.
Of course.
We're bombarded with these messages.
Right.
Telling us that happiness comes from having more, achieving more, being more.
Yeah.
But Dickens reminds us that true fulfillment lies in human connection,
Yeah.
in empathy,
Okay.
in compassion. And he does it through a story that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Speaking of thought-provoking,
Yeah.
for those who are already Dickens fans,
Mm-hmm.
how does Great Expectations stack up
Oh, it's a good question.
against his other works?
Yeah.
I know people always talk about Bleak House
Right.
and A Christmas Carol,
Of course.
but where does this one fit in?
Great Expectations is definitely considered one of his major works,
Okay.
and for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that perfect blend of intricate plotting,
Yeah.
social commentary,
Yeah.
and those unforgettable characters.
Right.
But if you're looking for something with an even grander scope,
Okay.
Bleak House is a masterpiece.
Okay.
It tackles the complexities of the legal system
Yeah.
and its impact on society.
Right.
It's a bit longer and denser than Great Expectations,
Okay.
but it's absolutely worth the effort.
So Bleak House, for those who are ready
Yeah.
to really dive deep into
Right.
Dickens' social critique, what about something a little more accessible,
Sure.
like A Christmas Carol?
A Christmas Carol is always a delight,
Okay.
especially during the holiday season.
Yeah.
It's shorter, more heartwarming,
Right.
but it still carries that powerful message
Mm-hmm.
about redemption and the importance of generosity.
Okay.
But I'll say this.
Yeah.
Even if you've read A Christmas Carol a dozen times,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something new to discover in Dickens.
Well-
He had this remarkable ability to layer meaning into his stories.
Right.
So you can revisit them again and again
Yeah.
and find something fresh each time.
Okay, so we've established
Mhm.
that Great Expectations is a rich,
Mm-hmm.
complex,
Yeah.
and ultimately rewarding read.
Definitely.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
It is a commitment.
It is.
So for our listener who's still on the fence,
Right.
can you give us your final verdict?
Absolutely.
Is this a book they should prioritize
Yes.
in their ever-growing to-read pile?
Yes. I mean, look, if you're craving like a quick escapist read, maybe save this one for later.
Right.
But if you want a story that'll stay with you, that'll make you think,
Yeah.
that'll challenge how you see the world and maybe even yourself,
Okay.
then Great Expectations is a must-read.
It's, like you said, it's a book that gets better with age.
Exactly.
The more life you've lived,
Right.
the more you get out of it.
Yeah, think of it as an investment.
Right.
You put in the time,
Yeah.
you engage with the story, and the rewards keep unfolding.
Okay.
You know, years from now, you might find yourself thinking back to a certain scene,
Right.
a line of dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
a character's problem, and it hits you in a whole new way.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's not just about the hours you spend reading.
Right.
It's about how it sticks with you
Exactly.
long after you've finished.
That's the sign of a truly great book, isn't it?
Yeah.
It stays with you. It
Yeah.
becomes part of your own story.
Well said. I think that's the perfect note to end on.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground today,
we have.
from Dickens' writing style to, the ups and downs of Pip's journey,
Yeah.
to the themes of the book that still feel relevant today.
Right. We talked about the humor, the heartbreak,
Yeah.
the social critique,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we've given our listener a better sense of what to expect.
Yeah, and maybe even inspire them to pick it up.
I hope so. Dickens himself once wrote,
Okay.
"It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known."
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that maybe Great Expectations
Yeah.
isn't just about Pip's journey.
Right.
It's about all of our journeys.
Mm-hmm.
It's about wanting something better,
Yeah.
learning from our missteps,
Right.
and finding our own great expectations in life.
I like that.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time.